Today we have Joy joining us. Thank you so much,
Joy.
Joy, for your time. I'm going to highlight you really quick for everybody on the screen.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm really excited we can have Joy. Joy is one of our early Missouri providers that we started working with. She started working with us in March 2024 and submitted a license application soon thereafter for the Joy of Learning Farm School. It is a group home program, if I remember correctly, with a capacity of 20. And Joy has been bursting at the seams with enrollments. She had people knocking down her door to enroll in her program before she even opened because she has a really unique program that hopefully she'll tell you a little bit about. I think that she's got animals on her property that the children get to interact with. So I think she's been at capacity with 20 enrolled children pretty much since she started. And she's worked with a whole host of Wonderschool folks, starting with Adele on the new supply team and Natalie, Melody, and Kat, all on different aspects of using our product. So thanks so much for joining us, Joy. I don't think we've actually met, but I've heard so much about you secondhand from all of our team members, and they've always raved about you. And I have to say, I love your program name. Like, Joy of Learning is like so perfect.
Thank you. Well, it is my dream come true. So,
Well, it's such a pleasure to meet you, Joy. Hi, I'm Chris. I'm the founder and CEO of Wonderschool. It's really exciting to have you on today. So, Joy, it would just be great to learn more about you. Where are you from? Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you care about, and how you ended up getting to a place where you were starting a childcare program.
well, I live in Agency, Missouri. I have lived in this area my entire life. I lived in St. Joseph for a short while, but I've always been in a rural area, which is about 12 miles southeast of St. Joseph. I have been a public school educator for 32 years, and last spring I had the opportunity to look at starting my own preschool program. And it became a reality for me. And after I retired from public school, I began, well, actually, I started working on achieving my license before I actually retired from public school in Missouri. I've taught in a various amount of capacities throughout the state. I've taught in Kansas City, in St. Joseph, and also in the district where we currently live at, which is called East Buchanan, which is a rural farming community. And knowing that our community was lacking in childcare programs, I saw this as an opportune time. So I began working on my licensing. I had a friend who had kind of spread the word that I was thinking about doing this. And as a known educator in our area, parents were seeking me out, asking me if it was true about the rumors that I was going to start this farm school. And so I decided to put the word out on social media. And within 30 minutes, I had about 40 applicants that were saying, we want, we want, we want. And so, as Heather said, my enrollment has been just amazing. It's been overwhelming at times, but it's continuing, and I have a waiting list for up to 5 years away from now. So that's kind of a little bit about me. I've been married for 33 years to my husband. We call him Farmer Dwayne here at the school, and he actually works for the school now. He does my payroll and all of my accounting needs. He also stands at the gate and greets the children as they come each day, and he does our maintenance and our groundskeeping and all of that stuff too. And the children just really enjoy him. I have two adult children myself. Um, and my son had a lot of needs throughout his schooling career. And this was always something that I wanted to start for children that had extra needs, whether it be that they were bright and brilliant. And I mean, everyone thinks their child is bright and brilliant, which I will agree with many of them. But my son was exceptional in his educational ways, and that presented a whole new challenge of behaviors and approaches that I needed to consider as a mom. And I wanted to be that program who would offer those differences outside of the norm, if you will, for public education, a place where children could learn about the land, can learn about plants, can learn about animals. We are outside the majority of our days. We have about an acre of a play yard, and it's always been my goal to have children outside and learning about the things that they need to know about, like where your food comes from and how to care for animals. And so that's been something that I've really strove to provide for the children and the families that I have in the program. So we decided to do this, and so I had kind of explored different options as far as um, the online platforms for attendance, for check-in, check-out, a website, and I attended a conference that I'm on the planning committee for in the state of Missouri, called the Missouri Early Learning Conference on the Young Years. And Wonderschool had a booth there as a vendor, and I picked up the information there, and that's how I came about with Wonderschool.
Awesome. Awesome. So you found us at a booth. How long had you been thinking about starting a childcare program, would you say, prior to that moment?
We paused, my husband and I paused several different times, looking at different options, like as far as like a building or a place that had became available. And at that time, it wasn't feasible for us. And so I kind of just put that on the back burner. And so whenever I had found out that the community really was in need, that's when the time would be. So I would say probably 15 to 20 years.
15 to 20 years. Wow.
Yes.
And
Yes.
do you think you would have started a childcare program if it weren't for Wonderschool?
Perhaps, but it's been nice to be supported with Wonderschool. And, in the beginning, it was helpful for Wonderschool to support me through the licensing process. That
Right.
was super helpful. And the consultant that I was working with at that time, she was extremely helpful in guiding me and helping me and encouraging me. And it was wonderful to have that financial backing from Wonderschool for that paperwork that I was already working on and the things that I was already doing to prepare for the opening of the school.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Joy. And you know, can you tell us a little bit about like where you live? Like how rural is it? And what would you tell people about starting a childcare program in a rural area? Like is it hard? Is it easy? Is it harder than you thought? Is it easier than you thought? Like what are some of the secrets that like you use to fill up so quickly?
So we are extremely rural. My husband and I we live in a barn dominium, which is like a barn, but it has our house in it. And we live on 43 acres. We do have a nearby neighbor. They are about a fourth of a mile away from us. And so children that are in this area are usually farmers' children. And if they're not farmers' children, then they are usually like grandma or grandpa or someone in their generational family has had a connection to farming. And so from the nearest town, which is Gower, Missouri, it's about 5 miles. And then our address is actually Agency, and that little township is around 850 people, and that's at 5 miles the opposite way. So in between all of the little towns around, the closest bigger city that we live near is St. Joseph, Missouri, and we're about 12 miles southeast of St. Joseph. So I would say the one thing that really helped me was I already had a reputation with former students and former families through my church, through my community, through our small town feel here. A lot of people know who I am, and they know that I stand for what's best for young children. And a lot of the families heard about our school through the word of mouth. A lot of families came in saying, I heard from my aunt, or I heard from the neighbor down the street. If they live like in Gower, I heard that you were their child's teacher, and just how wonderful everything was. And we really are very interested in this. And the approach that I took, like with the programming, was a lot different. I allowed flexible programming, which means that I have some students that are full-time 5 days a week. They come every day from 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. I have other families who chose to come or bring their child a half a day. And some do 2 days a week, some do 3 days a week. I try to fill all my slots and serve as many families as I could, which currently I have 34. And so I would say that the best way that I got the word out was through word of mouth, but then also getting those families enrolled. That happened through Wonderschool.
So Joy, 34 students. So so did you end up starting a center-based program?
No, I'm only having 20 per day.
Whoa. And so it's a home-based program with up to 20 kids?
Yes.
Wow.
We're
Congrats.
actually called a group home. That's what our license is for, and it's for 20 students each day.
Amazing. Joy, how's this affected your financial position, like relative to what you were earning as a teacher prior?
Well, I am getting retirement, which is a good thing.
Yep.
Um, but financially, I'm able to pay my staff a nice hourly wage. I have two other ladies that work for me, and of course, I said my husband as well. I have a lot of families about that have, well, actually, I created a parent advisory board because that was a familiar practice from me from being in the rural school district. I actually taught in what was called a Missouri preschool program, which was funded through the state of Missouri. And so in that programming, they had to have a parent advisory board. And I thought it was an excellent idea because I brought in 5 parents, onboarded 5 parents with me that help advise me and help plan. And they have just been so super supportive about my approach to the teaching and learning because I wouldn't say it wasn't super well received at first. I am a constructivist teacher. I use a curriculum called Project Construct. And in the Project Construct curriculum framework, we are taught about play and the value of play. And so every activity, everything that we do has a purpose, it has a goal for a child in their development. And so um, the parent advisory board helped us decide that we needed to go ahead and raise our tuition because they felt like what their child was getting here at the farm school was way different than what they were getting at another local school that had recently closed. And so we did go ahead and change our tuition to be a little bit higher based on what the parents advised me. And so the online payments have been working. Families seem very comfortable with paying that way. We have some that were paying online very well, very nicely, and then the ACH charges began. And so, we understand that the bills have to be paid somehow, and that charge has to be made. But we have a lot of parents that write checks, and we accept cash too, and so we kind of do a little bit with that. But the parents that like the card payments online, they're the ones that were like, oh, I always forget. And so they really appreciate that. And I appreciate having that available for parents to utilize that if they want to.
Thanks for sharing that. And that's great. I'm also glad to hear that the parent advisory board has encouraged you to increase your tuition rates because of the uniqueness of your program. That it sounds like you have a very supportive group because it's really important that you are compensated for the unique value you're providing to the community, and it's great that parents see that. That's awesome. So yeah, please, you were going to say something.
We also built I designed it with the things in mind that I wanted for my childcare program for this school. And we built a D log cabin that's about 40 by 60 feet. And so, we had to borrow some money for that. So when I say we're paying our bills, we're making ends meet, but the building is a huge blessing. And it's just wonderful to be able to have that resource for the inclement weather days.
Great. And so, I guess the other question is, one thing we're thinking about as a company is how do we recruit more people like you? Incredible educators who care so deeply about children, who are, great entrepreneurs and great business leaders. If you were to give us some advice, we're usually in the business of advising you, but we can learn a lot from you. How would you, if we wanted to recruit 100 more Joys in Missouri, what would you recommend we do? What are some things that you would recommend we consider?
Um, well, the incentive program was outstanding, and I know that kind of went through some changes as we were midstream, but I felt like your financial contribution to me for the work that I was already doing was pretty invaluable. That was it was encouraging to me to know that that work was going to be withstanding, as well as a bit of financially based for me.
Joy, could you tell us a little bit about like what was the incentive program and how did it work? Just so everyone can hear, because not everyone actually is aware of the incentive program.
So the incentive program had 3 steps, I believe, and after the first one, it had a checklist, and I'm a very big checklist person. And it had, once you go through these several things on this checklist and turned it into your representative with Wonderschool, then you're reimbursed the amount of money that was promised for each one. And so I earned, by the time I finished with all 3 steps and achieved my licensing with the state of Missouri, I earned $4,000 from Wonderschool.
Thank you. Any other things come to mind beyond the incentive program?
I appreciate the way that we are able to log our students, that the parents can scan the QR code to check them in, to check them out. We have the capability of doing that as well. I really like that. I like that I can communicate with families through pictures and videos. And if I had to pick my favorite thing about Wonderschool, it would be the communication piece with the families, because the families are seeing the things that we are doing firsthand whenever we are putting those pictures and those videos out there. And it really draws them in to the worth of the education, to the experiences that we are providing for children here at the farm school. There is one thing that that through my experience with other platforms, could Wonderschool think about linking our early learning standards from Missouri to have a capability to educate parents about the early learning standards. Like, I know in another platform that I used previously, I was able to click on a link that would, put, like, basically assign it would assign sorry, I lost my train of thought. It would assign the Missouri Early Learning Standard to complement the picture or the video in the thing that the child was working toward with that goal.
Noted. And Joy, are there other things that you would like to see in the product to make it, a 10 out of 10 for you? What would need to happen for the product to be a 10 out of 10 for you?
I know that you guys have worked on a lot of the different glitches that we've encountered with Wonderschool, and I really appreciate that you've been able to listen to the things that I've put forth that I found that are a little glitchy. But making the app and the online dashboard be more interactive, and also, like, very thorough, if you will. Like, there are parts of it that I struggle to get to, like with the messaging, not the private messages, but like the messaging that I get through my desktop, like with my dashboard. Sometimes it takes me a few days before I can get to that. Since I'm the director, I'm the lead teacher, I'm kind of your one-man band, I guess you could say. So I would like to see that be a little bit more cohesive, and also payroll.
Yes. How many teachers do you have today that you're paying?
I just have 2.
And what are you using to pay them today?
We have QuickBooks.
Got it. And so having payroll in the product would be very helpful.
It would be.
So we're spending a lot of time, making the product better. Our goal is to make it a 10 out of 10, an 11 out of 10 for you. We want this to be something that you're gushing about. And, we're really, really focused on continuing to make it better. There are a number of things we're going to follow up with you on based on this. So really grateful for you sharing this feedback. We really appreciate feedback. And we also appreciate you working with us as we continue to make the product excellent for you. So thank you so much for sharing that. Joy, could you share, so if it's okay, I would like to switch gears a little bit and learn a little bit about like what it's been like for you running your program. What would you say has been the best memory or the best experience you've had, with children in your program?
Just spending the time listening to their ideas, and expressing their curiosity with families through the communication piece, and just taking time to be with children and be present in their learning is I'm getting goosebumps because today was one of those days. We're finishing up like our school year with our children this week, and tomorrow is our final day with this school year. And just being able to relish in the beauty and in the nature and in the setting that we're in here today. It's 66 degrees outside and the sky is blue, the grass is green, the crops are growing, and children are just so curious. Today on our morning chore routine, on our way between the chickens and the goats, we found a small bird nest, and then we stopped by the peony bush that's blooming and picked peonies, and the children all have a little bouquet of peonies to take home to their families. And being able to share that through Wonderschool has made a huge difference, and it's just absolutely inspiring and touching for me to be living this dream out.
Well, it's an honor to serve you, Joy. It's an honor to help you achieve your dream. And, we look forward to continuing to support you. Thank you so much for what you do for the community and for children. And, we're always here. So thanks so much, Joy.
Thank you.